What a beautiful day to be at JAXPORT. I want to thank Eric Green for hosting us. Also want to thank our FDOT Secretary Kevin Tebow for joining us. And then we have a lot of great folks from around the state. We have Jonathan Daniels, who's the Port Director at Port Everglades. Paul Anderson, CEO of Port Tampa Bay. Many people around here know him well. Alex King, Port Director at Port of Panama City. And then, of course, we got a lot of great folks here with me today. As many of you know, we are facing major disruptions not only just in the United States, but beyond, but certainly in the United States, disruptions in the supply chain. You've seen the images of all these ships docked off the coasts of various cities in the United States where there's a big log jam. That, of course, is impacting what we see in terms of on our store shelves. We see more empty shelves than we're used to seeing, and there's shortages of different things. Of course, we're also seeing increased cost in terms of inflation. Year-over-year increase in food prices so far is the highest it's been in 10 years. And of course, many commuters have been suffering under about a 50% increase in gasoline. And so you see a lot of problems. I know they just announced, well, in California, maybe they'll start having the port operate 24/7. Our ports operate 24/7. I mean, that should be happening anyways. And so we in Florida have the ability to help alleviate these log jams and help to ameliorate the problems with the supply chain. And part of it is because we've long been committed to reliable, modern, and accessible port facilities. Since I became governor in 2019, we've allocated almost $1 billion to over 70 Florida seaport projects. And these are approaches that have made us really, really strong. And of course, the port is one. And then once it gets off the port with the different operations that we offer, both rail and road, it really, really, really is, I think, a model for the rest of the country. So we're here. We have capacity. And not only that, I'm proud to announce, and I'm going to let the directors talk a little bit more, that JAXPORT and some of the other ports are also stepping up even above and beyond by offering incentive packages to businesses who want to move their cargo through these ports like JAXPORT. This will make a huge difference. If you think about a place like JAXPORT, you have close to 100 million consumers that live within 1 day's drive of JAXPORT. And I think companies are noticing. They're noticing that Florida could be the solution for some of these logistical problems. Just last week, a European container shipping company announced they were going to reroute vessel service to JAXPORT, bringing an estimated 1,000 additional containers a week through Jacksonville. And it's been many years since we've had a European company come through JAXPORT. So that's very, very exciting. Port Everglades recently accommodated the MSC Stella container ship with nearly 7,000 containers this past weekend, and the MSC Susanna container ship with 9,200 containers is arriving this weekend from India via the Suez Canal. So we're able to accommodate these ships without backups. Our seaports are used to operating around the clock. They're used to moving cargo for American families, farmers, and businesses. And we think that this is a great solution given our capacity for some of the problems you see in other parts of the country. In addition to our seaports, though, we've invested more than $200 million each year on freight and rail infrastructure to create a more reliable intermodal network. And we are continuing to invest, and we're adding to the investments in workforce education so that we can prepare individuals for meaningful in-demand careers like logistics and like getting commercial driver's license. I was just in the Florida Panhandle earlier this week, and last week, and we did a program, we did funding. They have commercial driver's license programs so that we can get more people to drive trucks, but they also need people that can service these trucks. So we launched, we did almost $3 million. They're going to add a diesel technician program to what they already have. And these are really important jobs. They're in demand. And I know JAXPORT works with the local. I think all these ports work with some of the local educational institutions to make sure that we have folks coming on these tracks. And so we're going to continue to do that. Since 2019, since I've been governor, we've increased enrollment in high-quality post-secondary career and technical programs by nearly 50%. We've added 50 new apprenticeship programs, and over the last year, 2020, we did 15,000 more industry certificates awarded than we did in 2019, and so that continues to grow. Part of it is because I think people see more and more that if you're certified, if you have the skills, particularly as you're talking about our ports, you talk about some of the logistics, they need people that have skills, and you're going to be able to do very well if you do it. So Florida's here. We want to make sure that Americans get the goods they need, particularly as we approach the Christmas season. I can only imagine if we don't ameliorate some of this by then. I mean, last-minute shoppers like me, we're going to show up and not be able to get anything. We're not going to be able to get anything delivered. So that will cause a lot of heartburn. So I actually got to make a note that I got to do it a little earlier this year. But hopefully, with what we're doing here, more and more folks coming to our Florida ports, that will be able to help solve some of the problems that we're seeing. So I'm proud of what we've been able to do, and I'm really proud of these seaports that we have in the state of Florida. Really is some of the crown jewels that we have in our state, and we want to make sure that we're helping to address, because when you start talking about supply chain inflation, that's not something that's just going to affect a small segment. I mean, that hits very wide, hits very hard. And so Florida's here. We've got capacity, and we also have incentive packages to make it worth your while to be able to bring your business through our ports. So first one that's going to talk about some of what they're doing here and what they can offer businesses going forward is Eric Green, the CEO of JAXPORT. So Eric, want to come up?
I want to start by thanking Governor DeSantis, Secretary Thibeault, our board chair, Wendy Hamilton, board members Daniel Bean, Jamie Shelton, and Brad Talbert, who's here with us today, and all of the port workers and partners who are here with us. With your support, JAXPORT has maintained uninterrupted cargo service throughout the pandemic, keeping the supply chain moving and store shelves stocked for the people of our great state and throughout the nation. Standing here today, surrounded by so many important partners, I am proud to announce that fiscal year 2021, which we just completed at the end of September, was a historic year for JAXPORT. More than 1.4 million containers moved through our port over the past year, a new port record, a port record set in the middle of a pandemic. And we're not slowing down, not even close. As Florida's largest container port, we want the industry to know that Florida ports like JAXPORT are a solution to the nation's port congestion problem. The success of this year's holiday season depends on shippers and ocean carriers diversifying their port calls and utilizing uncongested ports like ours. As we've seen this month with a major shipping line, as the governor mentioned, rerouting their European container service to JAXPORT to adapt to market's needs. Governor DeSantis, we share your message. We welcome all cargo vessels and suppliers to ship through Florida. The industry has taken notice of Florida's advantages, including our workforce and fast access to 100 million U.S. consumers. Right here, we are all gathered. $200 million in enhancements are underway to modernize the terminal. It's all funded through the support of our governor and elected officials, as well as our public-private partnership with SSA, one of the world's leading terminal operators. Together, we are building the port of the future, further increasing efficiencies, combined with the investments that the state has made in our transportation network and the strength of our trucking, rail, and service providers. We are ready to serve the needs of consumers in Florida and throughout the nation today and for generations to come. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Eric, and we're really excited about all the great stuff that's gone on with JAXPORT. Congratulations. Next, I want to bring up Ike Sherlock.
Governor DeSantis, Secretary Tebow, Mr. Green, distinguished guest, my name is Ike Sherlock. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for AGX Freight. And today, I proudly stand as a representative of the transportation and logistics workforce for the great state of Florida. Truckers, warehouse workers, brokers, and many more, all essential workers that are critical in the supply chain between the Florida ports and the consumer. The governor mentioned a very notable thing. From where we stand right now, almost 100 million consumers live within a one-day truck transit drive. Think about how perfectly positioned we are from a geographic standpoint to strike and strike quickly. Almost 100 million consumers. I would like to call out good communication and positive working relationships as they apply to our host venue, JAXPORT. JAXPORT has successfully leveraged relationships with our truckers and warehousemen to not only seamlessly handle record import numbers, but as a team on the export side, we have mobilized huge amounts of massive military deployments and huge human relief efforts. You can go from port to port all over the state, and you hear success story after success story of the private truckers working successfully with the ports. I share all of this with you today because I want you to know that not only is Florida open for business, Florida has the critical infrastructure, essential manpower, and additional capacity to successfully handle more business. Thank you.
Okay, Mark Masaglia delivering remarks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Masaglia, and I lead the commercial and business development team for the Terminals and Ports Division of Watco, which is a leading transportation service logistics company. We're here today because Florida is open for business. Governor DeSantis, we're grateful for your leadership. You've made sure that business was open during and throughout the pandemic, and your leadership has been a bright light in a sometimes dark world. Thank you. We all know that port congestion and a record number of vessels at anchor are exacerbating the nation's supply chain issues. Watco provides rail, water, highway transportation solutions throughout the North America and Australia, and we operate 44 short-line railroads and 79 ports and terminals throughout the United States. Here in Jacksonville, which is my hometown for the past 30 years, we're proud to operate the JAXPORT Railroad, which serves Jacksonville's Talleyrand Terminal, just up the river. As JAXPORT's serving railroad, I can say that Jacksonville is prepared to handle the business that's stalled at the congested ports. Jacksonville is a global gateway that offers convenience, efficiencies, and unmatched competitive rail options. With service from CSX, Norfolk Southern, and the Florida East Coast Railway, Northeast Florida's rail network has the capacity to effectively deliver increased imports and exports. We're eager to relieve the strain and get the cargo moving. As they're linked to the port, Watco is ready to move intermodal containers directly from the port to the main intermodal yards of those Class 1 railroads. And with their connections to Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, and beyond. We all know that time is money, and it's time to put Florida's efficiencies to work. There's no better state to do business in, and Watco and the First Coast Rail Network is ready, willing, and able to solve the supply chain issues under the leadership of Governor DeSantis and Secretary Tebow. For all of our current customers and our future customers, I ask you to bring it on and make Jacksonville your port of the future. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for allowing Watco to serve you. Governor, we won't let you down.
Okay. Okay, from Port of Tampa, Paul Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Governor DeSantis, Secretary Tebow. Thank you very much for the support that you've given to our ports. so that we can be here today to support your vision that you've said to the world, our nation, and our state. We're open for business. And so are our ports open for business, and not just 8 hours a day. We work round the clock. I'd like to take just a minute, if I can, Governor, to recognize the men and women that are back here that are at the tip of the spear in ports all over our state for what they do 24/7. I'd also like to say, I see some old friends. Good to see you, Lake. It's great to be back in Jacksport, Eric. Thanks for hosting us. I'm here for one simple reason, is to ask for the shippers around the world, those that own cargo. I want your business. Eric wants your business from Jacksport. Jonathan from Port Everglades, we want your business. Reroute your thinking. Reroute your cargo to come to Florida. We stand ready to offer you incentives that will make it ideal and cost savings so that these men and women in our ports can move your cargo to get to consumers so Governor DeSantis can late shop and still get what he needs. Thank you very much.
Okay, from South Florida, we have Jonathan Daniels, Port Everglades.
Governor DeSantis, thank you so much. Your leadership has been absolutely invaluable. Secretary Thibeault, thank you, as well as you continue to blaze our path forward. In a hyper-competitive environment that is ports of today, when you take competitors and make them collaborators, what happens in Jacksport happens. Brand new services come to the state because we're looking at our state as a system. 15 ports strong, willing to take on any level of competition that's out there, allow the governor to make sure, as Paul said, that he can get his shopping done in plenty of time. But it also allows the consumers of the state of Florida and the majority of the United States to be able to see what efficiency looks like in ports and to look at an integrated transportation system that meshes ports, rail, highways, and air in a seamless transportation network that is the state of Florida's transportation system. Governor, thank you for your leadership. And again, has been said, we're there to be able to support you. We're there to be able to support the shippers, the carriers on a global basis. And as has been said many times, Florida is open for business 24/7. Governor, thank you.
Okay, we have our Florida Department of Transportation Secretary, Kevin Thibeault.
You're on notice. The First Lady is probably going to keep you on task here, so just no pressure or anything. But what a great day, as the governor said, to be here in Jacksonville and Jacksport. And you've heard the commitments, right? You've heard that this governor and the department has made these commitments. But it's not only at the port side. It is at those intermodal connections. Whether it be the highway mode or the railroad mode, we have made those commitments. And we'll continue to do so in the years ahead. So we are open for business, as you've heard. I like what Mark said. Let's bring it on. We're ready to go, and we can help whatever the freight needs are for the region. Thank you very much.
Well, we're really proud of all the work that's been done at all these different ports, and I also want to thank all the folks that are behind us here, representative of many more, both here in Jacksonville and throughout Florida, who are working hard around the clock. And oftentimes goes unnoticed because we're used to seeing everything on the shelves, and now it's causing people to look and realize, which we've realized, and obviously the folks that work here have realized, but just how important it is that we do have the ability to ship goods, get them to market, and we're doing that very well in Florida. They will provide you with incentives to make it worth your while. We have capacity, we can do it efficiently, and I think it will be something that will be beneficial. Certainly it'll be beneficial to Florida, but I think it'll be beneficial to folks all across the country. We have to make sure people can go Christmas shopping as normal. We have to make sure that all the necessities are there. And if it's because ships are sitting off the coast somewhere else and they can be rerouted here and we can get all those shelves stocked, then we want to be a part of that solution. So Florida is the way. Yes, of course, we have been and are and will continue to be open for business, but we also really put a lot of emphasis on our seaports. We've done a lot of great investment, not just on the infrastructure, but also supplying the workforce going into the future. We're really proud of it, and we're really excited that we can be part of the solution that we see with some of these supply chain issues going on throughout our country. All right, thanks everyone. God bless.
This is a shot of the port of Jacksonville looking eastward. Let me adjust the camera here real quick. Sorry about that. This is major news. Just like the largest space facility in the world, maker of satellites, has decided, of all the places in the world, to relocate. They relocated to just down the road, Port Canaveral. Now, a couple weeks later, we have European shippers rerouting their shipping away from California, away from the East Coast north of us, to this state and our 15 ports. And I say state because technically right now, de jure in law, we are still technically a state. But history will record that the Republic of Florida began here. It began in 2020. When was the last time you ever heard Joe Biden leave a speech and say, God bless? Even in the 1.5 minute video that I did where he was talking with his wife about her cancer diagnosis, first words out of his mouth, I put my faith in the Lord. Name the last president that said that of the quote-unquote America. This is Jacksport at night. This bridge in the background that you're seeing here, this is what they call the Dames Point Bridge. If you guys want to have a roller coaster ride that you can do in your own car, if you ever get to Florida, take a trip over the Dames Point Bridge. It's not as long as the Sunshine Skyway, but it is steep and it is fast. And you feel like you're in a plane taking off. You literally do. When it comes up over and you can see the ocean off to, well, it depends on the direction you're going. See the ocean to the east, and then you can see the river that takes you in. In fact, let me give you a better look here. Here's Jacksonville, right here in the center. Make sure I have the, as we zoom in here, this is Mayport Naval Station right here. So somebody had mentioned, unless those containers have enemy troops, I'm like, this would be the worst place to do some kind of Trojan horse. Because you would be unloading literally right across from, there's an army base at Blunt Island. And then you have Mayport Naval right here. It would be the dumbest thing you could ever do. So you come in here, St. Johns River. And then, of course, there's Blunt Island. And as you move in, you can see the huge port right here on the St. John's. And this is just one port. It's a huge port. Right up here in Georgia, there's a, I'm not going to try to search for it, but there's a submarine base. This area right here, between St. Augustine, Palm Coast, and Jacksonville, was the most strategic location on the East Coast in the New World for hundreds of years. Jacksonville used to be a place called Fort Caroline. The French had it in the early 1500s. And then, of course, the Spanish, St. Augustine. There are natural inlets right here. And of all the places on the East Coast they felt like they needed to control, this was it. This was the gateway to the New World in the 1500s and 1600s. St. Augustine has actually been a continuously inhabited city since 1565. So, right, I know, Code Talker, no matter what positive thing you do or say here, somebody's going to try to think up or cook up something negative to say, even if they have to change the subject. So that's kind of the way of YouTube, so to speak. So it's an interesting thing. I had mentioned before, and I know a lot of you remember this, the issue with, I shouldn't say the issue, Black Sails. There is a scene in Black Sails, I believe in the first season, episode, I want to say 6, 7, or 8, right in that area, where they're shipwrecked, basically just north of Daytona, probably in this area right here, and talking about having to walk to St. Augustine. It's really amazing, because I was listening to this show, and I was listening to him talk, and they were talking about being a week's walk away from St. Augustine. You know, and at that time, I mean, you couldn't, step out 3.5 miles an hour. It would have probably been more like 1 to 2. So just doing the math, it was pretty cool. So, anyway. I hope we're still here. We're back. I think we had a bit of a hiccup there. Sorry about that. But I guess I will leave it there before we have any more internet issues. We have some wind. It's definitely fall in Florida right now. So I think that's kind of messing with some of the lines and the wires. So no big deal there. But thanks for hanging out, guys. Very much appreciate it. This was a huge, huge announcement. If you go back and listen to what the governor said about what's coming and what's going on, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that Florida is moving away from the rest of the country in a way that's not really being reported. There was a chart that came out on Twitter today that showed from 2019 to 2020, Florida had a net gain, like something ridiculous, like 30 or 40,000. Yeah, we're getting some spotty service here. Anyway, I'll share it in a video later on about the amount of people coming to Florida and businesses. So God bless. Take care. Have a great day, and we will see you guys a little bit later.